Hey everybody, welcome into Sunday Live. I am your host today, Mike the Fantasy Hitman Wright from the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. I will be your pretend meteorologist today because we're going to be talking a lot about weather. I'm sure each and every one of you at home knew that. Number one, I hope everyone had a happy and very safe Halloween out there. Welcome to Christmas season. Finally, we've finally made it, everybody. Let's get into the big picture of the day before I pretend that I know what I'm talking about with weather. The ins and the outs had some big things happening, throughout the course of the week. At the running back position, Aaron Jones, Mr. I'm ready to go last week. No. Not so fast, my friend. The Green Bay Packers have said you will sit another week because you were not practicing. Get Aaron Jones, get that calf all healed up. Joe Mixon with his foot sprain will be out. Miles Sanders, we figured this was going to happen. He is out. Let's talk about some good news, though. Dalvin Cook, Minnesota Vikings superstar running back. He is back. He will be taking on his arch nemesis, the Green Bay Packers. Up in Seattle. Whoo, doggy. What's going on up there? Not exactly sure yet. So they are an afternoon game. Starter Chris Carson is called a 50-50 game time decision in the afternoon. If you have a question about should I start Chris Carson, you better have some other option late. If Chris Carson is your final option and you're just betting on a 50-50 guy who's even it's 50-50 that he's going to start. So you have to put the odds at a greater than 0% chance that he does not finish the game, even if he plays. So Chris Carson is probably out of your lineup. Meanwhile, Carlos Hyde is doubtful. So the one who was going to take over, Carlos Hyde, was going to take over the starting spot for Chris Carson. It's the most clear on him. He's not going to play. Meanwhile, Travis Homer, game time decision. DJ Dallas is the only healthy guy up there in Seattle. However, they didn't really make any other moves at the running back position, so someone is going to play. Maybe it's Chris Carson. I don't know. We'll have to stay tuned to find out. In San Francisco, Tevin Coleman was activated. Now, the word out of San Francisco was that he received a very heavy workload during practice this week to make sure that his knee was going to hold up. It is a murky situation at best in San Francisco. Our educated guess. I was going to say best guess, and then I threw a word out, and I just moved around a couple letters. Our educated guess here is it's going to be Tevin Coleman. JaMychal Hasty, he's a fine player, but Tevin Coleman should be their guy. He should receive the bulk of the work. Meanwhile, Jerick McKinnon battling tired legs, which honestly is not that weird for a dude who's been out of the NFL for 2 years and was thrust into heavy action. Mark Ingram of the Baltimore Ravens is out. Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, in a tough matchup, they are in play, though. Phillip Lindsay expected to play. And Devonta Freeman, this one is interesting. So he will be out for the New York Giants. Wayne Gallman, Dion Lewis will see the uptick. It's against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so it's not necessarily the matchup you want to go with. But in these dire straits, at least there are options out there. And some of these guys might be on your waiver wire. At the wide receiver position, Michael Thomas out. Allen Robinson is expected to play. They said he cleared the concussion protocol yesterday. Some guys from the Jets are out. We don't care about that. I think the other, the news we're talking about, the New Orleans Saints, I don't know who's going to be playing wide receiver for them. I don't think they know. It's Traquan Smith. That's who's left. They have some health problems going up there. And then in big tight end news, Dallas Goedert from the Philadelphia Eagles, who was going to be coming back in Week 10, they got a Halloween trick-or-treat special when he was activated, and it sounds like he is going to play. I am treating Dallas Goedert. I am choosing to make the decision of I'm playing him like a starter. You have to downgrade Richard Rodgers. Rodgers was in a good place to stream against the Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately, you just don't know how that timeshare, the workload is going to be split up, those snaps. They do play a lot of 12 personnel up in Philadelphia, but you got Jalen Reagor back as well for the Philadelphia Eagles. Crazy stuff going on up there. Okay, on to the weather. So here's what we know. The Cleveland game is looking nasty. Very windy, just gross conditions, especially for the deep ball. I'll just highlight the games real quick. But so Cleveland, Buffalo versus New England. That one looks nasty as well. I don't think we're going to – hopefully we're not dealing with rain throughout the game, but it sounds like the conditions will be wet, rainy, or just wet and windy. In Green Bay, it's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be miserable. Same thing for Cincinnati. Same thing for Chicago. Like, this is the craziest weather weekend I can remember since doing the show, because when you combine all of the things of how many teams are on bye, how many teams are dealing with weather. Usually it's like two games are really afflicted by the weather, and you have to kind of make your decisions based on that. I don't know that people can really make pivot decisions at this point. There's all these players are on bye, and then all these players in the weather. This weekend's going to be wacky, absolutely wacky.
Yeah, it's really weird. There's only one dome game this week, which is really weird.
Come on, people, pay up for the domes. We need fantasy football needs you to play in the domes. Either way, should be a very exciting. Maybe a little bit more of the randomness is built in. Whew, good luck. Brooksy, players who are trending on the fantasyfootballers.com. By the way, the fantasyfootballers.com, all of our rankings are there. They are going to be updated all the way up to kickoff. We have a start-sit tool where you can plug in, boom, boom, 2 players, and check out who we would start based off of our personal rankings, our scoring projections, some other things factored into it as well. It's super fancy stuff. You should go check that out. And on top of that, if you support the show, this independent podcast at jointhefoot.com, you get a whole bunch of cool perks, like other cool tools on the website, but you also unlock four-player start-sit tool. Brooksy, who is trending on the fantasyfootballers.com start-sit decisions?
So you kind of addressed this one already, but if Tevin Coleman is active, can you rank the 3 49ers running backs?
Yes, so it would go Tevin Coleman, JaMychal Hasty, Jerick McKinnon. I say that with, not full confidence, but pretty confident that is the direction that they would go. So if Tevin Coleman is active, which we're expecting, we just can't say that officially yet because he is an afternoon game, and they don't have to put their official active inactive things, an hour before game time. So I don't want to give advice that isn't locked in. But it looks like Tevin Coleman's going to be the guy. I am playing him. JaMychal Hasty, I really don't want to play him, but if you're forced to pivot and put him in the flex, he could see, 8 to 12 opportunities. Who else, Brooks?
So very popular search is Justin Herbert. I'm going to have you rank these guys.
All right.
Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and...
Excellent. All right. Okay, so there is a little bit of weather. Guess what? A little bit of weather going on for the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game as well, because this is the world that we live in right now. I would go Lamar Jackson first. I really hope that they have figured out their offensive issues during their bye week, took a look at the defensive footage, the way that the defenses are playing them, the way that safeties are going over the top, and trying to find that. What is Lamar Jackson missing here on his reads? I would play him first. Then I would play Justin Herbert against the Denver Broncos again over Josh Allen, the Stallion. This one is really tough because he's Josh Allen. We know what he can do. What he can do in the passing game when he has a healthy John Brown. He has a healthy John Brown. We know what he can do on the ground because he's done that already a couple games this year as well. But he's matched up against the Patriots. The Patriots have had his number for the most part. Last year, I think he had one really bad game and one game where he was like a top 10 guy. He didn't crush your fantasy team, but he didn't give you a huge performance. And the Patriots will be without Stephon Gilmore. But I just have my concerns, man, that the Patriots are going to get it figured out. Plus the weather. There's a lot of variables here against Josh Allen. I have him currently ranked as he's still a top 12 option, but I have Herbert a couple clicks ahead of him. I believe I'm probably on that island by myself. I seem to be the only one, full steam ahead on the Justin Herbert bandwagon. We'll see if he can keep it going. I think he does, though, against the Denver Broncos. Who else, Brooks?
The other popular name I'm seeing is Deontay Johnson. Got guys like Deontay Johnson or T. Higgins.
Okay.
Or Robert Woods.
Ooh, okay. Those are some difficult questions here, but Deontay Johnson, I'm looking at him in my rankings. Okay, I have him too low. I have him a little bit too low. I know the matchup is tough. Steelers, Baltimore Ravens games, these AFC North games, they turn into nasty slugfests far more often than not. But Deontay Johnson was removed from the injury report. He is ready to go. Deontay Johnson is in. He's the number one for the Pittsburgh Steelers for Ben Roethlisberger. He was double-digit targets this last week. 2 touchdowns. Excuse me, 2 touchdowns before he had to leave the game. He is the target leader for this team. I am confident in him. Robert Woods and T. Higgins are ranked right next to each other. T. Higgins and the Cincinnati Bengals, they're missing some linemen. This fine Sunday morning or afternoon, wherever you are, that could be some troubles for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins has been a deeper play type of guy. I like Tyler Boyd getting a slight bump up here with what could happen. At least for the Bengals, Tennessee is not one of the top ranked pressure defenses in the NFL, so at least they have that going for them. But Joe Burrow could be up against it all weekend long or all game long, and I would put Deontay Johnson in front of all of those guys. Do we have any more trending players, Brooks?
Nope. To the people.
Fair enough. All right, let's head over to the questions. John wants to know Joshua Kelly or J.K. Dobbins. All right, I will take so Baltimore Ravens running backs, Mark Ingram is out. It's J.K. Dobbins rookie time, coming off of a bye week where they knew that Mark Ingram was banged up, probably not going to play, so you can buy into that narrative. I often do. Like DeAndre Swift, he hit off of his bye week. But when Mark Ingram went down, Gus Bus was the guy. He was the primary benefactor who saw more snaps. The PPR thing doesn't really change a lot here. Joshua Kelly doesn't catch a bunch of passes. J.K. Dobbins is the pass catcher compared to Gus Edwards, but Lamar Jackson just doesn't really throw to his running backs. So you're not going to see J.K. Dobbins all of a sudden jumping up to 5-6 receptions. At least I don't think that's going to happen. If I had to pick between the two Ravens, even in a full PPR, I would go with Gus Bus. It's not fancy. You can't. J.K. Dobbins is a Lamborghini. Gus Bus is the bus. Sometimes you got to use the public transportation to get where you got to go because you got to get there on time. And the bus is reliable. And they're large and they run things over. So I know you didn't ask about Gus Edwards, but I'm sure people are asking about how I'm handling the Baltimore Ravens situation. That's how I am looking at it. Now, J.K. Dobbins, between him and Joshua Kelly, in that one, I think I lean Dobbins slightly over Joshua Kelly. Justin Jackson is still the guy in the Chargers backfield. I'm looking at my rankings. It looks like I have Kelly 2 spots up above J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to make that adjustment here in a moment. So if that were my team, I would be playing J.K. Dobbins. People, okay. All right. Wants to know Allen Robinson or Deontay Johnson. So Allen Robinson in, cleared the concussion protocol. Man, I want to get Deontay Johnson in I also want to get Allen Robinson in. This is a wild world where you have to make this decision. I think I'm going with Allen Robinson despite the weather. Windy City is coming through with their wind. If someone could talk to the who's in charge of the wind and tell them to slow it down, we would appreciate that greatly on the fantasy football side of things. I'm going to go, oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm going to play Allen Robinson, but that's a very difficult situation. See, Deontay Johnson, Brooks, I mean, people, this is what we've been talking about this now for, 8 weeks. People keep undervaluing Deontay Johnson. I'm not saying you are people okay asking Allen Robinson, but in general, people are undervaluing Deontay Johnson, and it's crazy to me. Next question. Maria wants to know Mike Evans or Robert Woods, Bobby Trees. You got to take this advantage while you have it with Mike Evans. Chris Godwin will be out with the broken finger and playing against the Giants. He probably does get the James Bradbury experience, but he's going to get targets. He's going to get an opportunity to score in this game on Monday night. But hey, guess what's going to happen in that game, Brooks?
What's that, Mike?
Little bit of weather. Little bit of weather for that game, too.
A little bit rain.
No, a little bit wind. Little bit wind. Wind is everywhere these days. Wind is very hot. It is trending like you would not believe. Social media loving the wind. But I would play Mike Evans in that situation. Next question. Boo. All right, S. Spig wants to know Carson Wentz or Drew Brees. I'm abandoning Drew Brees at every corner, every stop. If it's not a scheduled stop, it doesn't matter. I am now making it one, and I am abandoning ship. He could be fine because he's number one. He's Drew Brees, but this is Alvin Kamara. If Alvin Kamara ends up with 100 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns, then you're going to end up okay. But that's what it's going to take. Go look at their depth chart. It is insanity. You have the breakout of last week, Marquez Callaway, he's out. You have Emmanuel Sanders, COVID-19, he's out. Michael Thomas, hamstring, ankle, whatever it is he's dealing with, he is out. Their depth chart is barren, man, barren. Which if you got Jared Cook, I'd put him in the game. Meanwhile, while Drew Brees I'm abandoning at all stops, Carson Wentz. Oh, man, the matchup. He gets the Dallas Cowboys. This is everything that you want in your fantasy quarterback. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz has been quite good, actually, the last few weeks with Travis Fulgham Gungam style. Gets the return of Jalen Reagor, the return of Dallas Goedert. He doesn't have to throw the ball at Zach Ertz anymore. I love Carson Wentz in this game. He was Jason's streaming quarterback of the week. And both of us on the show talked about how we preferred Teddy Bridgewater to Carson Wentz. That's because we didn't have the information that Jalen Reagor and Dallas Goedert were back. If we had that information on Tuesday, it would have been Carson Wentz is the stream of the week, not Teddy Bridgewater. That's just how it works with Thursday Night Football sometimes. So Carson Wentz is in. I've got him as a top 5 quarterback this week. Before we move on to the next question, I want to thank today's sponsor, Pristine Auction. Pristine Auction, the best sports memorabilia site of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you, it's Christmas season, baby. It's November 1st. My Christmas tree is going up when I get home. Brooks told me he's putting his tree up whether he wants to or not because he's contractually obligated to celebrate Christmas on November 1st. Pristine Auction, this is where we get all of our signed merchandise, all really cool stuff, like a signed this is a signed shoe. Josh Allen signed that shoe, people. That's ridiculous stuff. And you can get it way cheaper than you possibly can imagine. Go check it out, Pristine Auction. Make a completely free account. Use the word or the code BALLERS when you sign up. You're going to get $10 off your first purchase. You only pay for what you win. None of that BS. You pay to bid. Get that stuff out of here. I paid to bid. Those commercials, man. I paid $2 for an iPad. Like, yeah, but how much did you pay to bid? $300. You're burying the lead. It's ridiculous. None of that crap at Pristine Auction. Anyways, on to more questions. We have a little bit more time. All right. Peter, here we go, Peter. Now it's fantasy football time. Floor play, half PPR. Hunter Renfrow in the weather or Denzel Mims. Whoo, doggy. There we go. I'm going to go, man, the floor play would be Hunter Renfrow, but I have my concerns with the weather. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have himself a fine game. I'm going to play Denzel Mims here. I think that he is actually a pretty safe floor as well. Jamison Crowder is out. Brashad Perryman is out. Denzel Mims was the target leader, the yardage leader last week. I think it was the target leader as well for the New York Jets. He, a second-round rookie pick. He has an electric athletic profile. I like him, man. I think he'll give you a safe floor this week. I think so. And he's got upside, which Hunter Renfro's upside is sometimes. Next question. We got Kyle. Oh, I lost it. Sorry. Next question is from Max wants to sit one. Jalen Reagor. Okay, hold on to your butts. Sit one. Reagor, Goddard, Hawkinson, Josh Kelly. Oh, man. So either way, you're playing one of the Philadelphia Eagles who are coming right off of the IR, right into the fire. I mean, it's not really a hot fire because it's the Dallas Cowboys. You know, more like a hot tub. You know, you're off the IR to a nice, relaxing hot tub. I could go for a hot tub. So you're going to sit one of these players. I am going to end up sitting Jalen Reagor. He's the one I have the least amount of confidence in coming right back off of the IR. So that's the way I'm handling that. Next question from Snotty Bojangles. Says, yo. Tyler Boyd or A.J. Brown? Need this wide receiver to be clutch. All right. I get it. If you need a clutch, you're needing somebody who's going to come in and just handle the business. But, I mean, I like Tyler Boyd. I mentioned that I think that he sees a little bit of an uptick in targets due to the situation of the pass rush and the offensive lineman being out. But I don't know any world where I am benching A.J. Brown for Tyler Boyd. It's just not going to happen. So, while both wide receivers can be clutch here, I'm going to play A.J. Brown over Tyler Boyd. Next question comes from Munchma. Coleman or Devin Singletary? I have instituted a mandatory no Singletary policy in all of my fantasy football leagues, and that would include me waiting on Tevin Coleman. And Tevin Coleman's going to play. We got to will this into existence. Tevin Coleman is going to play. He's going to be the workhorse against Seattle. I'm going Coleman over Singletary. I'm not playing Singletary. Oh, man. I'm not playing Singletary. Timothy Ray says Coleman or Gio Bernard. It is a PPR situation. All right. That is a situation where I'm playing Giovanni Bernard ahead of Tevin Coleman with Joe Mixon out with some same issues as Tyler Boyd with the offensive line. I think that Giovanni can see a couple extra targets this week than normal against that Tennessee defense. And he's the main guy. He sucked last week. Let's be honest. He sucked. But Fantasy came through with a touchdown right at the very end, and that's all we need him to do. So I'm going to go with Giovanni Bernard here. Next question. We're just going to do a couple quick ones before the end of the show, because then I got to go. I got to get back to the rankings, and you guys start tilting, and I will be tilting as well. Mike says Giovanni Bernard or Jamal Williams. I'm going with Jamal Williams in that cold game against Minnesota. Jamal Williams should be great this week. The matchup is there. The weather favors him. I'm going with Jamal Williams. He's one of my favorite plays of the week, a top 10 player at the running back position. Justin Jackson or Denzel Mims in a full point PPR. Oh man, that's a floor and a ceiling type of a play. If you need the big stuff, you go with Denzel Mims. If you just need a little bit of points, you go with Justin Jackson. And we're gonna go with this final question here. We got Chase Claypool or Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry is playing with a broken rib, but and he's playing against the wind, as everyone is on the weekend. But I'm going to go with Jarvis Landry here. Chase Claypool, we saw what can happen to Claypool last week when Deontay Johnson is a full go, when Juju is a full go. Claypool can disappear. Jarvis will not disappear in this matchup. So I'm going to go with Jarvis Landry. That's going to do it for today's episode of Sunday Live. Thank you for joining me. Mike, the Fantasy Hitman, Wright from the Fantasy Footballers. I will see you tomorrow. Good luck in Week 8. Get your jackets on. Make sure you're staying safe. Make sure you're keeping it beautiful. Mwah. Goodbye, everybody.